Right, okay. Maui, it's obviously very topical. What is your bad point?
Yeah, my bad point kind of factors into the hesitations that I had for my good point, because obviously I'm a fan that Cadian is now on Astralis because I think that the calling's going to get better. My bad point is just that this could have been HooXi, and I feel like in a lot of ways it should have been HooXi. I was rooting for the HooXi move towards Astralis as well, and I did want to see him playing in for the roles, and I know that I feel like 1-for-1 Stairs roles on the team probably would have fit HooXi's a little bit better, but so far I've seen more from Stair as an individual than Bro,
Oh, of course.
so I would have been okay with HooXi coming in for either. Honestly, depends on what they really wanted. I probably would have kept Stair myself, and I'm glad that they kept him on the roster instead of Bro. But at the same time, I just feel like HooXi would have been the better replacement than Cadian, and for Astralis to miss that opportunity again is still ridiculous to me, because I think that HooXi is actually a really solid caller. I'm not going to say that he's fantastic, but I think that he was definitely above average for tier 1 callers in general. I feel like he knew how he wanted to use his pieces. I felt like he knew the style that he wanted, and I think that the main thing that I loved about HooXi's calling above all else is that he was, to me, one of the most pragmatic leaders, where he didn't overcomplicate things, where he didn't have to try to fake people out all the time. That if he knew he had banana control and he had Nico, Hunter, and Monacy ready to go in, you guys should just exec B and go into B. Like, they never needed to do a re-clear bracket or anything like that. If JKS was on the other side of the map, that's fine. He's going to be able to stop rotations, but in a 4-on-4, even a 4-on-5, just exec B. And I feel like that's something that so many IGLs, they try to do a little bit more, and I feel like the phrase of overcooking is something that comes up a lot now, where if you're in the mid-round with a couple of options, you have one that's directly in front of you that's already a good option, just take the good option and try to find the perfect option by perhaps introducing new uncertainties into the round, as many in-game leaders in tier 1 do. A lot of in-game leaders, Device himself actually would just kind of try to do a little bit too much sometimes, try to find this perfect way to use all your chess pieces, but in many ways HooXi was playing checkers, but he was damn good at it. And so I wish that HooXi would have actually been the in-game leader for Astralis.
That's a skit right there, by the way. It's like, instead of like, obviously you have like Glaive playing chess back on and so on. Then HooXi's playing checkers, but the joke is like, checkers is enough. If you got Monacy Nico,
if you're really good at checkers, you don't need to play chess.
No, exactly.
You know? Like, just keep winning at checkers. It's fine.
I love it. Okay. What do you think, Ash? HooXi doesn't have a team. By the way, you don't have to be that he has to join Astralis, but do you think he should be on a team right now? I mean, I will say, Ash, a lot of people are going to miss this context, but I'm purposely going to set it up here. Famously, supposedly, he turned down Gamer Legion, didn't he? Like, he could have gone the opposite way on the move, right? So that in itself implies it's not really that no team wants him. He's maybe doing a JKS and he wants a top team again, right? What would you say on this whole topic? I mean, presumably you wanted him, right? You were going to try and get him.
Yeah. I mean, obviously with our team, we lost Snacks, right? And we had a huge age disbalance, I think, kind of. We were looking at a really young team, like, do we want to turn into Academy? We had two options, ETR, who have been a big admirer for a long time, and HooXi, and I thought this could be the guy. Maybe he's a leadership guy. Seems like he has a lot of leadership qualities. He wants to help the team win, and I could see that the way Copenhagen and Flames played, they had a clear style. They wanted to walk out together, kill people, trade each other, really trade-based game, and then went to G2, and I could see he was trying to at least play around the individuals they had, and he wasn't just bringing the Flames way, he was kind of play around it, and I liked that as well. I see him hyping Monacy, and I thought, yeah, this could be a guy that could be really good, and he just didn't want to talk to us. I thought I had a way I could sell it. I have massive belief in the young players we have, and I thought if he wants to come in, I can maybe see if he's interested, see if he's the right guy, but he just wasn't interested in talking. I think it's just I felt he was looking for an opportunity like this, like Liquid maybe at the time before Cadian was there.
Sure.
So I'm just kind of a bit worried that he's just going to miss out now, and I don't really know where he goes, because I think he does have a lot of value, and his stock is very low, and to us, when people's stock is very low, this is usually a great time to go and get him cheap, right? And build a team around him. So I'm worried for him. I also would, as well, it feels like, I don't know if it's just they want to talk about him, but Stair, it feels like they talk about Stair like he's the next big thing. He's such a big talent. And then why is that not another reason to bring HooXi in, someone who's selfless, who's going to make the stars kind of shine out a bit? Because now I feel like Cadian's coming in. Is Cadian going to play all the anchor positions? Is Cadian going to go in first for Stair somewhere? Or are they just going to...
I'll believe it when I see it, put it that way. I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, but even if he says he's going to do it, at least you know HooXi will do it. You don't know if Cadian will do it. And the way Cadian used to play before, like, I am a big Cadian fan, by the way. Cadian was definitely baiting a lot of times. He had so many rounds where he would just sell the team kind of on T-side to plant the bomb and win the round, and you win the round quite a lot of time, to be fair. It was pretty good at it. I just find it hard to have that mentality shift. You're going to go into a rifler, you're going to a team that doesn't like you apparently as well, a new big org that the fans don't want to be there, and you're going to be selfless as well and change this, because mostly AWPA mentality is just, they've been spoiled their whole lives, right? That whenever they want to do something, they say, your coach and everyone's saying, guys, go do this, what you want, do this, or drop me up, do whatever you want all the time. And whenever they play T-side, they're always going at their own speed. They're saying, I want to do this when we're doing this default. Oh, okay, fine, go do it. CT side, they're always deciding where they want to go. And when it's like you're playing 4 guys and 1 superstar when you have an AWPA all the time. Do what you want, but then when you try and put him in a rush, they don't know how to rush. Nearly every AWPA I've ever played with, you put them in a rush, they're going to take some random path and they don't understand they need to jump out, run out. You put them in set strats and they're always going to throw the nades every time. And they're never going first. And now he's just gonna learn all this on the fly. Like I'm not saying he's incapable of learning it, but every instinct for him from being a top tier pro for so many years, he's gonna say, I'm doing the wrong thing. This isn't my game. This isn't me. I don't like it. I think they could have got more outs there if they really do believe in him like this. And now I think someone's going to get sold on this team. And you bring KD in, you're obviously not going to take him out straight away. They're probably going to Stairs just in trouble. And my bad point, I think, would be Astralis is that they are churning young players out like they're nothing all the time, and they're putting players in their academy. All their players in their academy seem to think that Astralis, I want to go to Astralis. No one else. I'll turn everyone else down, every single offer. I won't even speak to them. Go into Astralis while you're in the bin. Never see you ever again. People like Buzz, showing a lot of talent. Throw him in the bin, stick him on the bench. He's stuck forever. He can't get out. Give him no chance. So many other people like this, right? And now, if he's as good as they say he is, he's going to have to be unbelievable, to be honest. Or Cadian's going to have to really change his game to get the best out of him. I just don't really see it, to be honest. I'd rather seen HooXi in this team, and now I'm also worried about HooXi. Seems like a nice guy and everything. And I think I just don't know what his next move is. I couldn't even theorize what it is.
No, what's funny is, as you were saying that, I pulled it up. Bro, he's done. Because if you have a look, I'm not exaggerating, if Astralis isn't doing it, and they've now signed Cadian, so they're not, tell me another top 20 team that's signing HooXi. Because, by the way, if Falcons ain't doing it, like, there's none. Like, Liquid's already got twists. Like, I'm not joking. If you look at the whole top 20 guys, they're either teams that you can't join, like Russian or Turkish or something, or there's just no teams left. Like, remember, if you're not going to join Gamer League, I'm sorry, I'm just going to speculate here. I don't think he also wants to join, like, the NIPs and the Fnacs of the world. So, if you think there's a team better than that, here's the difference, bro. Unfortunately, maybe JKS has warped everyone's mind, because JKS has done this twice now. He sat around after Call, and then he got into fucking G2 somehow, and then he sat around after G2 and he got into Team Liquid. That is extremely rare that's ever going to happen, guys. And I actually think personally that the difference is this. With JKS, the one thing he had going for him is because he got benched so early in CS2, we all have it in our brains when he was playing awesome and winning all those tournaments and doing all those clutches. You can even think of like a Mirage JKS clutch in your brain and you immediately start seeing him winning on the B site, right? You think instead of HooXi, first of all, everyone's been flaming HooXi all of this year. No one thinks highly of him. And then secondly, because you're an IGL, we don't have the same memories. We have memories of Nico doing things and Modesty doing things. So unfortunately, if you're an IGL, I think it's really dangerous to sit on the bench for 6 months. Like, you will just be forgotten, bro. If no one wants you now, no one's going to want you in 6 months. Like, I'm even trying to think of some of these teams, like, who would even as a fallback get you? I think the only one I can vaguely come to is maybe there's a world where, like, Heroic decides Kixum wasn't it, and then Sword says, like, gets HooXi or something. That's about the only, like, reach angle I can even think. Aside from that, there's no teams. There's no one you could join. And then I also agree, right, the reason why it's actually a little bit harsh what happened to HooXi in G2 is when everyone gave him his credit in G2, it was in a way that was backhanded. Everyone went like, well, you're playing a loose style, but you should because you got all the fraggers. But I actually agree. He played way more structure in Copenhagen Flames, but he obviously couldn't do that in G2. And actually, that is, in my opinion, the downfall of HooXi in G2. I mean, everyone's now heard that story, that if they hadn't won last Cologne last year, they would have just fired him last year, like a year ago, basically. And the reason why is obvious, because I'll tell you the worst thing. Think about the conversation I had earlier about superstar players in the era before they were molded by academies and coaches. Superstar players have outrageous thoughts. Like, here's the problem if you're HooXi. In the short term, here's how you win with Nico and Odyssey and players like that. You come in and you don't say, I'm the genius, listen to me, everyone do what I say. You go, oh no, actually some of your ideas are good and we're going to integrate that. And hey, you know what? Great idea, Nico. That was a great call you made there. Hunter, you're making excellent calls, mate. Keep doing it. Here's the problem with doing that. In the short term, that'll work if you win. In the long term, I'll tell you what those players will do. One day they'll be having that beer when you're not there and they'll go, why actually doing need that HooXi guy. Doesn't he just sort of do all our ideas anyway? And actually, you end up losing off that. Here's what the genius player does, like a Carrigan. They get you to think that their idea was your idea, but they make sure that when it then doesn't work and you correct them, you know, oh shit, it was actually his idea. And you only know later, like, oh, he was. That's why people like Twists later on get more and more and more complimentary on people like Carrigan. Whereas you notice with some of these other IGLs, it feels like the opposite. They have a first couple of months that are good, and then it's diminishing returns, and the players just lose faith in them. And at the end, they just sort of like bring anyone in except this guy, basically. So I think that's outrageous, because I do think it's funny. I was speaking against HooXi because people wanted him to be in like a top 3 team in the world. The idea now, we can't be in any top 10 team. Like, we've gone too far the other way now, you idiots. Like, I'll just say this myself. I purposely kept it because we did the Cadian thing before. I think HooXi is a way more appropriate IGL for Astralis than fucking Cadian. 1, he has none of that bollocks with the roles. 2, I actually think, if anything, surely device, you want structure. I would even say to HooXi, fuck G2 HooXi. I want Copenhagen Flames HooXi, mate. Let's bring that guy in. Let's work on this. Also, you've got Rugger. By the way, I know Rugger wants to be like a tactical coach and do like all like. You don't want like. I also think the roles are a nightmare. Like, I agree with you. It's why I kept saying on shows, Maui, you notice, like, if they bring, because I thought it was HooXi they bring in. I kept saying, I think if you do role for role, they'll just kick Stair, even though he's obviously more talented, because they'll think Bro can be like all the shitter roles, basically. Instead, they've kept him. But I as you said, here's the obvious analogy. My fear now is this, that they're going to do to Stair what they did to Cello in Furia, which is you take a player who actually is good and you just say, you're now the new drop, enjoy your fucking life, mate. You're going to look shit for the next 6 months. Because the worst thing about that is not only do you ruin that player's game, but then at the end of it, he has to go to some shit team himself because no one believes he's good anymore. Whereas actually, if you think about it, like at the end of Imperial, bro, Cello was probably their best player. He was just like their best player. Like, he actually, like, at that time, if we'd have been doing that Makey Brazilian Super Team, he'd have been in it. We'd have had him in 2 stars, you know what I mean? Like, he was actually really good. So I'm so worried they're going to do that with Stair. I agree. If you actually look, unironically, take away expectations, he's probably had the most consistent performance in the whole fucking team, from Blame F being there to now to the device era to when HooXi, like, that guy actually just did his job the whole time. In fact, didn't he sometimes even do more than his job? Even sometimes he just carried the game, didn't he? He certainly wasn't like a superstar to me, but there's a reason why everyone was like, remember, the Astralis players themselves were bigging this guy up before he joined. They obviously knew he was a fucking talent in the Danish scene, so I don't get it, mate. It's just such a weird move to me. And then, yeah, the idea that now HooXi is just sat playing for nobody. Oh, that's just whack.
I think that's the thing I hate the most. Sorry, is advice I always give is players, if you get benched, never stay on the bench if you can. Try and get off it, because when I'm looking at it as a coach, I'm thinking, why did you get benched? Are you still playing the game? You're only going to be worse now than when you came back. You're going to be falling off the meta the whole time. There's literally only downsides, and you're better getting off and proving yourself quickly than staying on that bench for nearly 99% of players. And for people like JKS, I guarantee people like me, I am not going to take the risk and go, let's go buy JKS for 200k, because I don't know if he even wants to play the game. Yeah. I don't know anything about him at all. I don't know if he's a big problem. I always assume all the negatives, because why is he benched? What's going on? Is he still playing the game anymore? Is he doing anything? I assume everything's no. He's probably demotivated. He probably doesn't want to play anymore. And this is why I say, do not stay on the bench. Get streaming straight away. Show people you want to play. Play Face It, because people can see you actually playing the game still.
Yes.
And show that you actually want to play. Because the number one problem for me, motivation. And I assume most of the time you're probably demotivated from getting benched.
Yes.
Get off the bench as fast as you can. I'd say that nearly every time.
By the way, surely the biggest example we can give to any active pro is, bro, this is happening to Simple now. You do know Simple's like the only player ever. Like, the joke is, I've seen Simple do so much shit. I think Simple could like go back in time and fix my parents' marriage. He could do anything. He was like the greatest player to ever play any game. So that if everyone now watches and they don't believe he can actually like even play like competent CS, that shows you what happens when you're out of sight and out of mind, bro. They forget about you. They forgot about Simple. That sounds like a fucking rap song, obviously, like you could do, but you know, whatever.
You just assume he's got worse, right? You assume whatever level he was at, he's probably got worse.
Oh, yeah, of course. You think about everyone, yeah.
The random Thorin lore cameo there about your.
I mean, that's actually a joke. I don't really have didn't have my parents. I thought it was a funny line, though, wasn't it? It was a good line.
Okay.
It was more like, you know, when they go, hey, I just flew in from Texas, but that's just a gag for the opening part of the stand-up comedy. You know, I didn't actually come in from Texas. I didn't fly even, and my arms aren't actually tired, believe it or not. So, you know.
Well, what I think HooXi needs to do is that he needs to stop surrounding himself, because I'm sure that he has a lot of close friends and even family that are telling him like, nah, you're too good for this team, you're too good for that team. It's like when any rapper or NBA player or like, you know, just have that posse. That's
Oh, the
just all
entourage,
yes
right?
men.
Sure.
It's like, yeah, the entourage, like the Kanye entourage. You know, they're all just telling him that he's the greatest of all time, and he can do no wrong. And then he makes like poopity scoop, scoopity scoop, and it's
by
like,
the way,
okay,
Maui,
what are you doing right now?
Just because I know you appreciate Kanye for good and for ill, just almost the mania of it. I know, like me, you just vibe with it, right? Even though that should be the dark part. That thing, that screenshot that got leaked, I was almost crying, laughing. You know the one about the nitrous oxide.
I need the nitrous.
Yeah,
Can I have the nitrous?
It's when he says to like his plug or, you know, his hookup for his drugs or whatever. He sort of says like, "Have you got any more like nitrous oxide gas?" And then the guy even like tries to do him a favor and says like, "You know, bro, like you got to be careful with that. Like if you take too much, like it like just, you know, it, like he explained like some health issues." And then Kanye just goes like, "Yeah, okay, but have you got the nitrous?" Like,
Could I have the nitrous?
He didn't even care though. I know, I love it. I just love it so much. I just think
that's HooXi right now. That's HooXi right now. Can I have the liquid spot?
Yeah, basically. But he's just delusional.
Can I have the liquid?
Exactly.
Can I have the liquid spot? Can I have the JKS?
What a
spot?
world. By the way, I actually think you even phrased this best. I mean, if we'd have known the story before, you could have made this HooXi didn't get to join Astralis. But I agree. It's actually that he's not on any team at all.
Yeah,
Here's
yeah,
the other
he
thing
should-
that sucks.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know, the worst thing is if you think of the timing when he was benched, bro, you had a whole season to get it back together now. Like, look, let's say, by the way, let's say you actually joined Gamer Legion with Ash here, right? First of all, I just said it at the beginning of the episode. They're not even like a total random team. People like Slend actually might be like a top 20 player in 2 years, bro. You would actually get all the credit when he rose up now. Look, you wouldn't from people who know the game like Ash, but to a fan, they'd be like, that guy was nobody before HooXi came. That would even work to your favour. So say, first of all, you'd have like a sleeper roster. And then secondly, even if it didn't work out, because this is the point that he was making there about don't bench yourself. Because you'd have been active for this season, win, lose or draw at the end of the season. Now if someone after the Shanghai Major is like, I want to change my IGL. Oh, wait, HooXi did not a bad job with that. Like, that's when you get hired. That's when you get actually the Liquid job. But I'll tell you what, if you sit on the bench, even if Liquid doesn't stick with Twist, they ain't coming to you in 6 months. You know what I mean? They're not going to fail the major and go, hey, remember that guy ages ago who played with me? It'll be like 6 months ago at that point in time. Like, you'll be forgotten by then, I'm telling you, bro. It's really sad.
The one thing that HooXi is praying for right now is that Nico brings him to Falcons also. that he says, I need one guy with me. And they're going to be like, wait, okay, you want Hunter? No. You want Monacy? No. You want HooXi? Okay. That's the only way that I see him redeeming himself, getting onto a top 15, honestly.
By the way,
I don't see where else he goes
here's
right
the only thing, and I'm only saying this for a comedic effect, but the obvious joke there is, imagine when Kassad wakes up and sees HLTV.org that day, Maui. Like, wakes up, HooXi and Nico to join Falcons. Sprays all of it. All right, I'm never talking to you again. Goodbye.
Yeah. No, Nico's going to wake up on Twitter and he's just going to see you are blocked by Kassad. You're just like, he's going to try to go to his Twitter one day to DM him.
See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.